Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Hangout with ST. She's Alyssa.
And he's Hairianto. And Hangout with ST is a weekly show every Thursday where we bring you top stories of the week.
Anything that is local to everything that's happening around the world. And this is episode 84.
Yay! And also right now I just want to give a shout out to our YouTube viewers. We have not forgotten any of you there.
Yeah,
So
correct. So 4 more months exactly to 100th episode. I hope we can make it lah.
I hope so too, but we can never tell. You can't tell what's in the future. You can't tell what's going to happen.
Hey, so we just had this talk earlier on, right? Like, I think we look good today.
Hairianto thinks he looks good today, actually.
No. Let us know. Let us know in the comment section whether you think that we look good today.
Yeah, I tried to look a bit younger. That's why
Katniss Everdeen, right?
Yeah, Katniss Everdeen. So I wear all black. It's a bit like Hunger Games.
Correct. Tell us, whether you like Ellie's hair like that. And thank you for tuning in. Of course, we are coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom.
So do leave your comments and we'll read it later during the show.
Yeah, and we're on social media as well. So if you want to follow us, slide in our DMs, write us an email, you can do so as well. And this week, Lisa, we're going to be talking about issues that are very close to our hearts.
That's right. So it's mainly about mental health. This episode, the first segment we're going to talk about is about hoarding.
Yeah.
The behavior of hoarding and of course what social workers are doing to help these people.
Yep, and in the lead up to World Mental Health Day, which is happening next Thursday, 10th of October, we are also going to have a mental health segment as well, where we'll be talking to a psychologist as well as a campaign ambassador. Yeah, he has his own personal experience to share as well. Right?
And we did crowdsource questions from our Straits Times Instagram, and we're very happy that many of you asked questions, and it shows that you guys, it's something that's close to your hearts as well. So we picked a few, so please stay tuned to see whether we picked your question and whether it'll get answered.
Yeah, but more importantly, of course, partake in our conversation. Let us know what you think in the comment section below.
Not too late to ask.
Yes, okay, let's see. Let's
say hi to people.
Yeah.
Should I log on to our YouTube one?
Okay, you can.
Right. Because after all, you can see all the Facebook comments and I can't.
Yeah,
for some
right.
reason.
Okay, we have Ratri Trachu says, hi Samuel Tra, yo, what's up? We have, Samuel Mahani says, you both look good today. Yay,
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Oh, Samuel Tra says, Ellie kind of looks like an actress.
Oh, thanks.
Katniss Everdeen, is it?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay,
exactly.
so far no one. Okay, I see 2 people watching on
YouTube.
Oh, could that other one be me?
Could be, right? But hey, let all your friends and family members know that we are online.
All right, so on September 30th, there was a 68-year-old man. He was found dead in his Bedok North flat. His body was discovered after his neighbour called the police, after his neighbour smelled a foul stench coming from the flat.
And of course, from the pictures that we saw online, in the online article, the man's home was filled with things he had hoarded over the years. Of course, this is not the first case that we've seen, right? A hoarding case in Singapore. There have been others as well. So, the question is, can this condition be treated? And how can a hoarder be helped? But more importantly, how can you tell whether one, you are really hoarding or versus you're just somebody who is very sentimental over their things. Like I am quite sentimental with my things, so where is that line that we cross?
That's right. Right, so to help us answer these questions and more, we have Mr. Yong Tak Ming. He is the National Director of Habitat for Humanity Singapore.
Yeah, let's welcome him in.
And then we'll shuffle to the other side.
Yes, we shall.
Hi, Tak Ming. Hello, hi. I see you got a memo to wear the same colours as
yes.
Yan today.
Wow.
Come closer.
Yep,
Thank
that's right.
you.
Okay, first of all, Tak Ming, maybe if you want to say hi to anybody, you can say hi to our viewers.
Hi, especially to those people who have been supporting Habitat for Humanity Singapore, those people who join us in our house cleanup session. We call that the Project Homeworks.
Okay, so the Project Homeworks is basically where
we get
you go
volunteers together and we clean up the houses of the elderly poor. A lot of them are kind of weak and sick and they are not able to upkeep their own house. We believe it's very important for them to have a decent place to call home. So we will gather volunteers together and then we go and spend a Saturday morning or even sometimes a weekday to clean up the houses.
And it so happens that some of them, they have hoarding issues or hoarding problems, which you help with as well, right?
Yeah, and from time to time we will come across a serious hoarding situation, and some of the hoarders kind of a minor hoarders. They may hoard items like food and stuff like that, but there are those who are so serious as to have a place where you really don't know how to get access to because the whole place is just completely filled with stuff.
And I think there is, so we spoke about this, and there is one particular case that really, stood out for you, where you had 30 sessions. Tell us more
than
about
30 sessions.
Yeah.
Actually, we had a test case in the western part of Singapore. So there was a single mother. She basically had a daughter who is also a single mom herself. And so the daughter had a baby, but the whole place is just not really good for the baby. And so because of that, she had to do something about it. And so she contacted her social worker, who then contacted us, and we wanted to use that as a case to see how far we can go to help her and whether or not she can be rehabilitated and helped. And so we spent about a year and a half visiting her, and more than 30 sessions. I believe it was like 34 sessions. And at the end of the 34 sessions, we could clean about a third of her house.
Just only one third.
Just about a third of her house, because each session would be a very long, drawn-out situation where every single item you want to discard, you have to get a permission.
Of course, of course.
And you need to even station a witness to make sure that the two person who would see that she agreed to discard whatever item. And that takes a long time because sometimes about an hour into the activity, the client would hyperventilate and get really upset that you have been throwing her things. Then she would say that I cannot do this anymore. Then we have to stop. That's why you would take many, many long sessions.
And because it's a very traumatic experience, right? So the reason why they start hoarding in the first place, from your experience, you understand that it's because they're trying to deal with something?
It's basically the things that we consider junk to them, they are security blanket and stuff like that. And we have encountered so many different hoarders, and every person has a different story. So some hoarders would hoard newspaper because the late husband used to get her to buy newspapers, and so so stacking up the newspaper is a form for this particular person to remind her of her husband. So then to discard the newspaper means you are challenging that thought and that sense of comfort. And there are some hoarders who hoard food items because when they were growing up, they were very poor, and so they felt that now I better hoard something just in case a war will come or something like that.
So it's not only just helping them to clear, but also helping them to cope, right, with these insecurities.
Well, for us, we want to make sure that they have a decent place to call home, because if they hoard, typically it's a fire hazard situation and also a health hazard. And often you have cockroaches and bed bugs and all kinds of things, So we think that it's important that person who is a human being get a decent place to call home. So our priority is to make sure that that person get a proper place to live and not live in such a terrible condition. Long-term wise, in order to help them, you need to have many people coming together. Social worker, people from mental health institution, experts and professionals coming together. So we are just one part of a solution, not the whole solution.
And it's not just a one-time assistance of help, I understand. So because even after you clear the home, even if you manage to clean the whole home, they start to accumulate things again, right?
Absolutely. So it's a very long drawn process, and I think that it is still not very clear whether a hoarder can be completely so-called cured of the situation. So we tend to find that you need to go back over and over again. The issue often, from what we observe, is not the hoarding itself, it's the discarding. So it's not like you can stop them from bringing things, new things in, but to discard stuff is the key problem. To let go is a key problem.
Again, for those of you who have just recently joined us, we are here with Teck Meng. Now we are talking about the issue of hoarding, right? Because just recently in the news, there was a news of this man who died in his home, and when they went to the home, they realized that the home was filled with a lot of things. A lot of things. And really, Teck Meng is here to shed more light on this hoarding issue right here. So Teck Meng, let's go back to the part where, we talk about drawing the line. So where do you draw the line between, say, somebody is a hoarder or somebody is just a sentimental person, Where do you draw the line where, okay, this person really needs help, we need to give him the attention
Yeah, my staff say that I'm a hoarder because my office is in a mess. I think the line is drawn when it affects everyday life.
Yep.
In the case of a hoarder, really, you'll be quite surprised. You ask yourself, how in the world would that guy go to the toilet, or where's the toilet? Because the whole thing is just like completely covered up. So when it affects what we believe to be reasonably a normal everyday life experience, then there's some serious issue there. And you'll be quite surprised, you know, the hoarders whose house is so filled with things that you have to climb over the garbage, or what we consider to be garbage, just to reach the door. You know?
No.
Yeah, there are some cases who are as bad as that. So when that happens, clearly something is quite terribly wrong. Yeah. But the line I would definitely agree is a little bit hard to draw, because some of us are just messy, right? Creative chaos kind of idea. But when it start to impede in the way you would live normal life, where people come to your house and feel that something is wrong with you because there's so many things everywhere and it's just completely disorganized.
Right.
So what do you say, or what do you not say to people who have that issue?
Well, we are very careful, and in Habitat for Humanity, we believe in the dignity of the people we help. So we actually have to educate our volunteers when we go and help a hoarder's house. Always remember that no matter what you see, it is that person's house. And these are like, to you it's junk, you know, but to them they may be treasured possessions or whatever. So always be respectful when you speak. And at the same time, always have to be prepared that because they are not too normal, they're quite dysfunctional, so they get impatient with you. Oftentimes they will yell at you. It's like the classic case that the 33-odd session, I was there in one of the sessions, and you ask the lady, you know, Auntie, can I throw away these things? She'll look at you and say, are you stupid, you know?
Oh no.
This is something is useful. Item. Yeah, you know, and then, so if you're not patient with them and you get angry with them, you say, hey, I'm here to help you, you know, hello, you know. But, you know, if you really want to help them, you have to be very patient and have empathy to understand that. I suppose nobody chooses to be like that, and so they are in deep trouble actually. So it takes a long time, a lot of patience to attempt to help them.
And I mean, just on a, you know, just to wrap up the segment right here on hoarding, right? Say for example, you know of somebody who is a hoarder who needs help, or maybe even if you have a neighbor, you know, who is a hoarder and he has almost infringe into your space. What can you do? You know, what are some sort of help that that these neighbors can actually look out for?
Well, actually, we already know that anybody who is a hoarder would already be known, because typically the hoarder would also affect the corridor. And so someone would have complained and make noise to the town council or his DB or whatever it is. So in that sense, we already know who they are. The key problem is that you really need to have a lot of patience and a lot of empathy to want to understand that these people will have a long journey ahead of them. And so in order to live properly, we all need to have some understanding and some patience. And if you know of someone like that, you know, you can always alert the town council. They will in turn alert the respective social work unit. And before long, we will get involved as well. So all in all, I think that you would take a lot of helping hand to help one of these people. And it's not a magic one solution. So everybody need to have a lot of patience, and we are in it for a long drawn kind of a journey.
Certainly it must be very difficult for the neighbours, because I can imagine cockroaches maybe running over, the smell.
A lot of anger and a lot of unhappiness. It affects your property price also.
Exactly right. But really, I think it's difficult, and sometimes, you know, this is when rift starts to happen between neighbours, and you just really get upset, and then things just, you know, escalate, and
you really can't blame them, because as you mentioned, it's not something that they choose to.
It's a mental health issue that we need to address and need to have empathy to us.
Well, thank you so much, Teck Ming, for coming onto the show to share with us more about this hoarding issue. Now, Teck Ming right here, he is the National Director for Habitat for Humanity Singapore. They have Project Homework, where they basically go clean houses of those who are poor or even have hoarding issues. You can, you know, just Google for their website to learn more about them. And I suppose volunteers, you know, are you always looking out for volunteers as well?
We are always looking out for volunteers, especially young people. We want to encourage the young to join us so that they will develop empathy for the elderly as well.
Right. So there
any requirements? Just wondering.
14 and above, because of insurance.
Okay. So viewers out there, you know, if you wanna You know, volunteer, help
Yeah.
out. You can check out Habitat for Humanity Singapore. You can just Google it. Once again, thank you so much, Teng
you.
for coming
Thank
on
you.
to the show. Let's see what people have said right here.
Okay. So I see on YouTube, I think people are just watching, not really commenting, so I will swap over to Facebook.
Yeah. So Facebook right here, people are just watching as well. But
Okay, strangely enough, someone from the US is asking us about the dengue fever over here. I understand there was a report where there was a hot spot recently in Singapore.
Okay.
But I don't read any other news. I think it's okay.
Yeah,
Thanks for asking,
correct.
Kevin.
Karan Wahi says bravo. Okay, I don't know what he's talking about, bravo. But hey, you know, let us know in the comment section below what do you think of our topics, and really, you know, if you have any personal stories, you know of somebody who has an hoarding issue, or you know, you are a recovered person who, you know, you used to be a hoarder as well, but then you kind of like recovered and you've realized that, hey, you know, I need to let go of things. Let us know in the comment section below as well.
You need to let go of all your iPhones.
Yes.
So you can make room for the new iPhone.
For the new iPhone. That is true. Now,
all right, yeah. So do you know that, you know, although 1 in 8 adults have experienced a mental health condition in their lifetime, 1 in 2 adults in Singapore are not willing to live nearby or work with a person with a mental health condition.
I don't know
1 in
that,
2.
but I can see why. You know, it's a stereotype and then the stigma, right, that people have towards mental health. Like you go, hey, this person crazy, I don't want to, you know, mix around with, because for fear that you get infected as well.
Or lack of awareness, or not knowing how to talk to someone, like don't know what to do, don't even know what we don't know, you know.
Exactly, yeah. I don't know that, but what I do know is next week on 10th of October is the World Mental Health Day, right?
That's right. So that's why we're having this segment.
Yeah, and of course here on Hangout with ST, we've talked about mental health, and we've also raised it a couple of times. It is an issue that is very close to our hearts.
Whether it's related to work or to family issues, or like the PSLE math question.
Oh,
a lot of stress as well.
Exactly.
But seriously speaking, a lot of children, they are stressed. So that's one thing that we talked about.
Yeah. But for this segment, really, we want to be a bit more direct, and we want to be more focused. We really want to look at depression and anxiety in the workplace, because really, you know, it's the people like us, right, in this age group where you've just started on your family, you've just started on your career, or you could be what we call the sandwich generation. You need to support your kids, you need to support your kids, and at the same time, you need to support your parents as well.
Yes, and then also, I mean, work plays such a big part in our lives, right? It's where we get our money and all that, and we spend like a lot of our time, our waking hours at work, and work is where you're supposed to be on your like best behavior. You're supposed to have it like all together, but you know what? That's easier said than done.
Exactly, right?
Easier said than done.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. Hey, you know, there are days where
you know, you just want to take a sick day, you know.
But you know, for those of you who are watching us at home, let us know, right, how do you manage your mental health at work? Is it, you know, taking short breaks? Like Ellie and I, what we like to do is usually we like to have an afternoon tea break, about 20 minutes, right? We work.
I like how you say only about 20 minutes.
Yeah, right? And then we go like, okay, we pull ourselves away from the computer, grab ourselves some tea and biscuits, and then we just talk about other things.
Or we play our Nintendo Switch
Or we play
for a short while.
My goodness, I can't believe we went online with that. But hey, so these are some of the things, right? Or, you know, you could just, or sometimes, you know, we talk to Sean, who's another of our colleagues, right? And we just talk about anything.
Trash things out.
Yeah, exactly, right? So let us know in the comment section below, how do you manage your mental health at work?
And to talk more about this, some expert advice, we have 2 special guests on the show. So the first is Nicholas Patrick. So he's the ambassador for the Beyond the Label campaign. This campaign is organized by the National Council of Social Service.
And we also have Ms. Charmaine Wong. Now she's a senior clinical psychologist with IMH Department of Mood and Anxiety. Can we welcome them, please? Charmaine and Nick. Woo, 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 woo. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Okay, so would you like to say anything to anyone?
Hi mom, hi dad.
Watching.
My pet hamster.
Charmaine, what about yourself?
I guess I just want to say hi to all my friends and also everyone or anyone who has ever struggled with a mental health condition, as well as everyone working in the healthcare family. Hello.
That's nice. All right. So maybe as a start, right, Charmaine or even Nick, if you could share with us, what is the term mental health? What does it mean, mental health?
I guess that's a really good question. What is mental health, right? Mental health is an integral part of health. There is no health without mental health. And mental health is usually defined as a state of well-being in which an individual is able to realize their own potential, able to cope with the daily stresses of life, able to work productively and also to contribute to their communities.
So what are some signs to look out for if our mental health is not as healthy, it's not at the level, not that healthy?
So since we're focusing on the workplace,
Yeah.
a lot of times when someone's suffering from a mental health condition, of course every single mental health condition may have their own unique signs and symptoms, but what you see underlying most of them is this loss of functioning in their ability to work, in their ability to have meaningful social relationships, and also I guess in other important areas of life, right? But at the workplace, what you can see that's most common is usually, like you said, depressive and anxiety disorders. You see these prolonged and pervasive periods of depressed mood, heightened anxieties. They may become more socially withdrawn, become more prone to interpersonal conflict.
Right.
They can also experience very low morale at work, feel disengaged from their work. They may have a drop in productivity and performance, so they may make more mistakes, miss deadlines, take more off days from work, or just come late to work quite often.
So quite poor performance in that sense, right?
They also can experience fatigue quite often, so always complaining about being very tired, sudden weight loss or weight gain, and also maybe problems with concentration, remembering, making decisions. And in more severe cases, and if they trust you, they may even reveal that they may have suicidal thoughts or acts of self-harm.
Okay. Nick, let's focus back on you. You are a campaign ambassador, and you yourself, you've gone through an episode of that. If you could share with us, how do you first find out about your mental health condition?
I think for me that it was a bit tricky because, for a good 5 or 6 years, I experienced it without actually knowing what it was. So I experienced everything that Charmaine mentioned and not really understand what was actually happening. In fact, I always tell my friends as almost like a funny antidote, like it happened in the tail end of my puberty. That's when depression started. So I just thought that was what everyone went through. So I thought it was just a normal tailing off or tapering off of who you are as a person. Because when you start, your mood is all out of whack.
Right.
So I think it was only when I contemplated suicide in 2011, when I was actually about to take my own life, that I actually understand fully or fully grasp the severity of it, and just understand how I would say how frozen it made me feel, the inability to help myself or to ask others for help. And I think that was when I really understood the magnitude of depression or my depression, and that was when I decided to get professional help.
So until that point, were you struggling alone? No one knew of what you were going through?
There were always spurts, I think, of times where you try to explain it to people, right? But it's hard because I think, when you suffer from depression, sometimes you can also be a very difficult person to be around. And in all honesty, at least for me, I could have been difficult. So to expect people to sit through those moments, it's not fair to expect them of that, because everyone goes through their own challenges in life, and to expect them to just sit there and let you unload, never in this never-ending manner, is not fair to them. But essentially, once I realized it was really hard to get them to understand, I just started to recluse and just keep it to myself.
And when you first find out about that you realized that, hey, I needed help, what were some of the concerns or worries that you had in terms of telling people that you have this mental health condition?
It's tricky because when I actually started to open up about it, for lack of a better word, the response was more dismissive than filled with, any form of judgment.
Yeah.
It was more like, this is a phase, this will go away.
Okay.
Or they realize like, oh, everyone has problems, this is just one of them.
Or they tell you, don't stress lah, relax.
Exactly, so it just becomes really hard to actually have a conversation about it. So, so I would say like, actually, the problem for me wasn't actually sharing what I was going through, was to find a common ground with the person I was sharing with so that they would understand my suffering, which was really difficult, I found.
Right. Yeah. Again, for those of you who are watching us right now, we are here with Charmaine as well as Nick. Really, Charmaine is a clinical psychologist, really focusing on depression and anxiety. And then, of course, Nick is a campaign ambassador, and he himself is or was a patient of mental health. And really, he's here to share with us his personal story. And really, Charmaine, let's go back to you. And like Nick shared, earlier on, that people tend to be dismissive. They go like, take it lightly and all that. How should one approach? So say, for example, I go to Ellie.
Or maybe
and then,
I tell you, Jan, I feel that I'm depressed. So how should he react? What should he say?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing, like Nick said, was don't be dismissive. Try and keep an open and non-judgmental attitude. If you don't know what to say, you can just listen. Take an interest. You can try and empathize, put yourself in the person's shoe, and try and make sense of, hey, what is it in this person's life that could make this person feel this way, and sort of express the understanding, the empathy. Yeah, so it's good to understand why that person may be feeling that way, but what will really make the person feel understood is for you to express that, hey, of course you feel this way given what you've experienced. Yeah.
Okay. So I think now it's a good time for us to look at the questions that we've received about mental health at work from our viewers. So we can look at my tablet because I think the screen's a little bit too far away. So you can look at it. I'll share this with Jan.
So we have a lot of people really, they are asking how to identify, and they are very concerned as well with regard to discrimination at the workplace if they were to be open about their mental health condition. Maybe we can talk about that. Either Charmaine or Nick, you can just comment. Let's go with one of the questions that asks right here. Let's see.
Is it all right to be open about our condition at work?
Is it all right to be open about our condition at work?
Yeah, so I think even disclosing a health concern at work can be quite daunting for people, right? Let alone something that's often associated with stigma and shame, such as mental health. Oftentimes when my patients ask me whether they should tell their employees, I encourage them to start by disclosing maybe to a trusted colleague or a trusted supervisor. And often they come back and say, oh, I feel so relieved that I no longer have to hold on to this secret, and they're actually quite supportive, right? I think another thing that employees can do when disclosing is to be very specific about, hey, this is how my mental health condition affects my ability to work, and this is how it doesn't. So be very specific when you're communicating with your employer. Also, I think be specific about how you want your employer to support you, whether you need any adjustments. It's also helpful to regularly update your employer so that they also know how to make accommodations for you. That said, of course, all this would be a lot easier if the workplace already has ongoing efforts to promote a safe and supportive culture for disclosure, and also already equip their employees to provide the right support for people with mental health concerns, right? So, but that said, employers, when somebody comes to you with a mental health condition, what you can do, like we said earlier, is to really keep this open, non-judgmental attitude. Try to empathize, acknowledge the courage that it took for your employee to come to you and disclose that to you. Express concern, genuinely,
Yeah.
but don't make assumptions of what they
Right.
can or cannot do at work.
And what about yourself, Nicholas? You know, how was your experience? You know, coming out to your employer to say that, hey, I have this. You know, how are you going to support me? Or you know, how was the experience like for you?
Right. Actually, to be honest, I've never actually disclosed.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been really transparent about
Yeah.
it. Like, I've never hid suffering from depression or anything like
Yeah.
that. But at the same time, I just never. I mean, when you go through interviews, it never comes up anyway. So I'm not sure how to organically bring it up. Just by the way.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's more important to, for anyone who feels like they need to share with someone to, you know, to not feel obliged to do it in the workplace if you're not comfortable. I feel like a lot of people feel that when they're suffering, that just everyone, and then if they're not sure that whether people will understand that, you know, there's really no real need to do it. If they are comfortable, then that's fine. Find a support group. You know, there are many other mediums, and you know, you feel free to explore them while you can. And you know, you don't really have to resort to things you're not comfortable with.
I do have a question since we're on the topic of this. This is my question, it's not crowdsourced.
Yeah.
So we're talking about when to disclose it, or if you want to, right? How about for people who maybe because of an episode, they've lost their job, or maybe they couldn't hold on a long-term job, so they've been in and out, right? And now they're trying to get back in the workforce. And if that potential employer asks them about that gap, should they be honest and say, oh, it's because I've been struggling with my mental health? In this situation, what would you advise?
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
good
tricky
question.
one.
I think it's a case-by-case basis, right? Like Nicholas said, as if you're comfortable sharing, then go ahead. But again, I think a lot of organizations these days don't require you to disclose. So case by case. Yeah.
I remember when I was applying for a job, and I had a well, she used to be my professor, and then she became a close friend, and she is very well versed in, you know, the HR industry. And she, you know, went through the process with me on how to interview, especially with this kind of touchy subjects, in case it ever came up. And you know, I don't know if people like that are readily available to everyone, but it's always nice to have an outlet to, you know, go through this process with, so you know how to answer the difficult questions should it come up.
And we are seeing a lot of comments on YouTube. I can't see them. Are you able to
YouTube.
see?
Okay, so let me go back to YouTube. That's okay. You can
but
hold on
we
to
have
that
a question here. So this is a crowdsourced question. Charmaine, people. So this is from one of our users, one of the our readers that ask, can it be really cured? Mental health, can it be really cured?
That's a very broad question because there are many different mental health conditions. Some mental health conditions tend to be more chronic. Even if you've recovered from one episode, you may still be at very high risk for another episode.
Right.
So
it's about looking out for the triggering factors.
It's about learning how to manage your condition in such a way as to maybe prevent a future episode from happening again.
Right. But of course, it's manageable, right?
It's manageable. It can be managed.
Identifying trigger factors and then making sure that, you know, you don't, I suppose, get these triggering factors, right?
I think triggering factors may always be there. But it's how you respond to these triggering factors, what you do on a day-to-day to make sure that you live healthily.
So okay, this comment on YouTube, I'm guessing this is the one that I've been told to read. I'm not sure. Peter LHS18, unfortunately he says the cold hard truth is that society will never accept mental illness and depression. It's very sad. And he also says that he is still going through hell. If there are any words of encouragement that you can share with Peter right now, is there anything you want to say maybe?
I mean, I used to think like that not so long ago. But I think at the same time, the truth is there will always be people who will support you. Sorry, I didn't.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
So, you know, there will be people who will support you. and people you can trust through this process.
Yeah.
And even when I was about to take my own life, there were always people who were supporting me. So you shouldn't give up. Yeah. Patience is key, really. So.
And that's why you want to pay it forward by being the campaign ambassador.
Yeah.
Charmaine, any words of advice, to people out there who feel like they, all is lost?
I think sometimes, a lot of the time when you're suffering, it can feel like it's never ending, that there will be no light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes it's very real, that feeling. And, it's hard. No, let's not, sugarcoat it. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
At the same time, I just hope you don't give up hope.
Yeah.
I think as long as you hold on to one grain of hope,
Yeah.
that you live another day, you might have the opportunity to experience something different. So hang in there.
Hang in there, Peter.
Yeah. Again, for those of you who have just recently joined us right here, we are with Charmaine. Charmaine now is a senior clinical psychologist with focusing on anxiety and depression. And we also have Nicholas, who he himself has had mental health condition. And then he has, overcome it, right? And his message to people out there who are in the same situation, or you feel that all is lost, that don't give up. Because he had been there, he has pulled through and he has overcome it, and it's really
Surrounded
about
himself with people who care.
Yeah, and reaching out to people.
As well. I think we can take a few more questions that were crowdsourced on Instagram. So I'll let you guys have a look, and then you can let us know which one do you think.
We'll probably go with one more. One more that we can go with.
I don't know, what do you feel like taking?
I don't know. They're all important questions, right?
Shall we choose?
Or maybe how do we motivate or encourage, right?
So maybe we'll go with
PW Lim.
How to motivate or encourage people who have mental health issue at work. Or maybe just stress, at work,
So let's say you said that there were times where maybe you were a bit difficult.
Yeah.
So, but in those moments when maybe you were being difficult, how would you have appreciated colleagues or people around you? Like maybe don't make would you prefer that they don't make a big deal out of it? They just kind of like you have your moment, or what is it?
I experienced two types of people that I'm truly grateful for. They're the ones who found a way to listen through the hard times. But then there are also the ones who take your mind away from things. And those guys are just as invaluable, When you go through a difficult period, they're like, great, but let's do something else, So they just completely ignore and they just take you away from your troubles, and that's just as valuable sometimes.
Right.
So, there are different ways to help. And I don't think. And sometimes you know your own superpower in terms of helping others, and you should just play to that and just either be a listening ear if you can, be someone who can take their troubles away. There are many ways.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nicholas, for sharing, of course, to Charmaine as well, for giving your expertly advice, and again, we cannot stress enough that if you feel that you're going through a hard time, do reach out, there is help out there, and really don't be afraid and don't lose hope. Like what Charmaine mentioned, that even if there is just one grain of hope, it is still hope, and do not give up, right?
Right.
There's always someone who cares. There's always someone who cares.
Once again, thank you so much, Nick, as well as Charmaine, for coming on to the show. Really, to share with us, and really, Nicholas, thank you so much, for opening up, and sharing. And it must not have been easy to share, but I think, for our viewers out there who know of somebody or who they themselves are going through some sort of stress or some sort of mental health issue, they can take comfort in your words. I
hope so.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nick and Charmaine. And with that, on to our next segment, Positive Vibes.
wait. Oops. Am I supposed to be?
Okay,
there you go.
There we go.
I suddenly appeared.
There was a little glitch right there.
Right. Okay, so positive vibes, because there's so much negative news out there in the world. We just want to have be that little bright spot on social media and interwebs. Have something positive and something that warms the cockles of your cold heart.
That's right. Now for this week's positive vibes, it's all about the courageous bus driver who put out a fire in a lorry in Tuas. Now bus driver Tian Siu Mui was driving her usual route in Tuas last Thursday when she noticed that the side of the lorry had caught fire.
So she sounded the horn at the lorry to let you know, hey, there's a fire there. And she, got out the bus. Well, she told her passengers, okay, guys, sit tight. Got out of the bus like a boss.
Yeah.
Put out the fire. And she just she's very nonchalant about it. I mean.
And a video of her doing her courageous act, of course, circulated online, and she's been praised and all that. But very humble. She says, "Hey, this is what I would have done, and anybody would have done, right?" And she's just glad that the training sessions have paid off, right?
Your everyday hero, essentially.
Good job.
Good job.
Miss Tian. With that, ending things off on a light-hearted note is Facebook Face Off. All right, so Facebook Face Off is basically we trawl through Facebook to pick the wittiest and dumbest comments that you guys put on our on our Facebook page.
So what we do, we pick 3 of the best, and then we go head to head. So if you think the jokes that Hairianto has picked is funnier than mine, funnier than mine, you type in H in the comment section.
And if you think that Ellie is funnier, you type in A.
Okay. Are you confident? Last week
Not
you
really.
won.
I won, yeah.
Twice in a row already.
Yeah,
in 2
twice in a
weeks,
row.
right?
Yep. Okay, Ellie, you go.
Okay,
Come on.
so this one I chose is Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott. So now they're pressing pause in their relationship after 2 years because they've got trust issues, right? And Kartina Yaha says, okay, noted. Noted. It's like, thank you, next, noted.
Right. Okay, mine is about the whirlwind that was caught in Tuas. This is a land sprout, the first such reported occurrence in Singapore. Did you witness it too? Then Denise says, those wearing wigs. Say, I like. Can you imagine?
I find it funny, the first thing you think about is wigs, rather than
So if you think that at least comment is funny, type in A.
If you think the one Hairianto is pick, the one Hairianto picked is funny, type in H.
Okay, now round 2. This is about Fan Wong and Christopher Lee celebrating 10 years of being together. 10 years on, Yang Guo and Xiao Longni are still going strong. This is because of the character, right?
The drama,
the Condo Heroes,
where they met and
right?
I think so.
And then Miyake Jia says, "Oh Liao become Lao Long Ni." Not bad.
Good. Okay, for those who don't speak Mandarin, that means what used to be like a little
Xiao is small, right?
small Long Yu, like dragon girl, right?
Yeah,
Little
correct.
dragon girl is now an old dragon girl. Old dragon woman.
Lao. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Ellie, you go.
Okay, just say that after we talked about all the serious issues, I feel like we're being very Anyway, sorry, let's get on with the show.
Yes.
Okay, the one I chose is some parents, they take issue with the PSLE 2019 math paper.
Yeah.
And some call it exceptionally difficult. So Saul Simon says, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm just fortunate to know that life is not so complex.
Okay.
My career only requires subtraction, addition, multiplication, and division. As long as every month I got money to spend and buy my egg tarts without bothering too much on discounts, I am happy. Which is true because at the end of the day, kids, you don't need to know all this. You just need to make sure that no one's cheating you of your money. True, right, Simon?
Correct.
So don't be upset with
Correct.
this paper.
Truth.
As long as your child
Correct.
doesn't get cheated
That's truth.
at
Correct.
the canteen. It's
And
okay.
also make sure that when you need to charge something onto your credit card, you know
charge
how the
correct.
installment
Yes.
works.
Know how your installment plan interest works.
Correct. So if you think that Alice's comment is funny, you type in A.
If you think Hairianto's comment is funny, type in H.
Okay, round 3, let's go. Last
Okay,
one.
this is the last round.
Okay.
Okay, so this one, it's a MediaCorp thing today.
Okay.
Okay, so it's testing times for Zoe Tay, with her son taking PSLE and her eldest son telling her not to wear, bikini, that one I don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe Zoe Tay is one of the parents who called the math paper exceptionally difficult.
Maybe,
We'll never know. Anyway, so Ho Liang says, you know what? I am worried about Zoe Tay, who is worried about her second son. who seems not so worried with the PSI paper. And then Lee Jeremy says, well, we are worried about you, who is worried about Zoe Tay, who is worried about her second son, who is not worried about PSLE.
You got to cancel something, is it?
Because it's a bad one.
Oh, because
Stop.
that's the funniest part.
Because this person said the F word.
Okay, so my comment is about Yang Shipin Senior, who played the role of a paralysis-stricken man.
Okay.
Did not have any speaking lines, and he was nominated for Golden Horse for the show Wet Season's Yang Shipin.
Oh gosh.
And Chi Leong says, silence is golden.
Very good. Very good. I'll give you my vote. I think it's very
So
good.
there you have it. If you think that Ellie is funnier in general, you type in A.
If you think Hairianto is funnier in general, type in H.
Okay, so we'll let you guys vote for a bit. And of course, today, Ellie, we really had a very good session, I think. Two good segments. First, we actually spoke to Teck Mei. Now, Teck Mei is the director of Habitat for Humanity Singapore. And he really talked about the issues of hoarding. And if you know of anybody who needs help, please report them. And if you want to volunteer as well to help out, you can check them out. Just Google them, Habitat for Humanity Singapore, and you can volunteer to help out with their project.
And then after that, it was followed by a segment on mental health conditions, especially if you have depression or anxiety at work. So how do you deal with it? And if you have a colleague who has depression or anxiety, how should you treat them or speak to them or help them when they are going through a difficult time?
Yeah, and I think the main takeaway really, Ellie, for that segment is that if you know of somebody, or if you yourself, have some sort of facing some kind of stress or mental health issue, and you feel that really you're at a loss, do not lose hope. Right, that you can reach out to somebody, and that there is somebody out there who really care. Yeah, all you have to do is really reach out. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it is definitely easier said than done. But more importantly, at the end of the day, what we really hope in this show is that we reach out to all of you out there. And again, if you need any form of support and all that, just write in and just reach out. There will be people who will be able to help you out. All right. So let's see if we can close the voting
votes.
in 5,
Okay. For
4,
Samuel Chua, he puts ha.
2, 1, and the winner is.
The winner is, come on, it's a surprise. Wow, Hairianto, yes. Silence is golden. Is that why you're so quiet now?
3 weeks in a row.
Third time's the charm. Good job.
Exactly.
Good job. I think my jokes are too long.
Again?
My jokes are too
Yeah, I
long.
told you already, you must short and punchy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
That is all we have for you this week. For more news and videos, do log on to our website, that is straitstimes.com.
We're also on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Can slide into our DMs, please.
Exactly, and just write us an email as well. Tell us, what you think of the show, or if you want to take the conversation further, you want to chat with us, drop us an email.
Yeah, or any suggestions as to what topics we should talk about on the show.
Yeah.
Do you want to see more cosplayers?
Yeah, let us know.
They were very popular.
Yeah, they were very popular, right? And so that is all we have for you this week. So tune in next week, same time, same place, 8 p.m. Thursday on Straits Times Facebook page and YouTube page. Once again, she is Alyssa.
And he is Hairianto.
Goodbye and see you next week.